welcome to my channel. My name is Kate, and in today's video I'm just going to be running through some hobby ideas for 2026. I think videos like this are really helpful, just having all these ideas in one place to hopefully inspire you and give you some ideas for what you might want to do yourself. I know I was in a position a couple of years ago where I didn't really have any hobbies and I just wanted something different to do in my spare time. And that's how I discovered crochet. And now crochet is my favorite thing that I do. It's what I fill all my spare time with. And I know that sometimes if you haven't got a skill or trying new things can be overwhelming. So I just wanted to make a little resource with 20 different ideas of cozy hobbies that you can try in the new year. Okay, so number one on this list is colouring in. I have seen so much hype around colouring in books lately. You've probably seen, if you're in the cozy hobby space at all of these people with their great big sets of alcohol markers and these really cute little cartoony characters. So it's a really popular hobby at the moment, and I really like it because it's something creative, but you don't have to use your brain a lot to do it. Obviously, there's the drawing already ready for you, so you just have to choose what colours you would like. And it's a really nice way to just kind of turn your brain off. You can listen to music. There are so many apps now that you can download. I have a couple on my iPad that I like doing when I'm traveling or having on the go. It's a lot easier than bringing markers and a book everywhere. I also have a selection of colouring in books myself. Anything will do. You can find these at so many different stores, news agencies, Kmart, Big W, online. There's heaps of different options, and there's a really wide range of choice as well, both in your medium and in the style. The great thing about these as well is that you can colour in with basically anything. So if you want to go all in and grab the big sets like everyone online, you can totally do that. Or you can just find whatever pencils, pens, markers you have lying around. If you're anything like me, I've still got a lot of my stationery from when I was younger, so I just use whatever markers I have on hand, and you don't have to spend a lot of money to start getting into something like this. Number two is crochet, which I obviously have a soft spot for. Crochet is what I started doing when I wanted to find some new hobbies a few years ago, and I haven't stopped since, and I absolutely love it. I'll also add in on top of this knitting, which I still haven't personally learned, but I am meaning to. They can take a little bit of time to learn and get really practiced at, but I think both of these are really great hobbies for something that you want to do longer term, and there's just so many options once you learn how to crochet or knit. At the end of the day, it's just something nice to do with your hands when you're watching TV, or just something else that's a little bit creative to try. Obviously, you do need some supplies to get started with crocheting, so you need a hook, scissors, yarn, and then optionally different patterns. Again, there are so many resources online. I learned how to crochet completely from YouTube alone, and I, over a few years, have gotten really comfortable with it. It's also a really good skill to have. You can make your own clothing, you can make things that you can't quite find in a store that you want. So I am biased, but I absolutely love crochet, and I think if you've got a little bit of spare time, it's such a great hobby to try and start getting into. Okay, number three is similar to the colouring, but that is painting, or paint by numbers. So in my case, I am not very creative in my painting skills. I did a little bit of art in school, but painting is not really my medium that I feel super comfortable with, but it's still so much fun. So a really great middle ground for that, similar to the colouring in, is getting a paint by numbers. A great thing about paint by numbers as well is that they come with the paints and the brushes you need. So it's just one purchase, you find a pattern you like, and then you're good. So for example, I have this one here. It's similar to colouring in, that you can kind of turn your brain off, but with these really detailed pieces, I actually find it a really nice way to increase my focus and just to use my brain in a kind of different way. Another thing with these is that they often come on canvases or something that you can hang up. So at the end of creating this piece of art, you can then use it. You can pop it up in your room, you can gift it to someone. So it's a really nice, satisfying product that you end up with at the end. Number four on this list is puzzles. I grew up always doing the Sudokus in the newspaper, and obviously with the popularity of Wordle and the New York Times puzzles, a lot of people have been getting into just small little brain teasers and puzzles day to day. I love these little puzzle books, which again you can just find at Kmart for $5 to $10, and they have heaps of different options. You can do crosswords, Sudokus, can-cans, The good thing with puzzles is that you can kind of choose what area you're interested in. So I have these little books. I also have a crossword book. I still steal the newspapers from my dad every week so that I can do the puzzles in there. And there's also so many apps that you can get. I personally love doing puzzles with my breakfast in the morning rather than watching TV and going on my phone. I think it's a really nice little way to start the day that's low stimulation, but you're still using your brain. And for someone like me, once you're out of school and you're not interacting with a lot of new information or learning that much, it's just a nice little thing to do that kind of keeps your brain active. It's also so satisfying when you complete a puzzle. A little side add-on to this one is also obviously jigsaw puzzles. I have a good collection now. I often get them as Christmas gifts or birthday presents. They're definitely much more of a commitment than these little puzzles that you can find in the paper or anything. But again, there are so many designs, there's so many styles you can do. This is something that's really nice to do with a friend as well as on your own. So puzzles in general, I'm a big fan, and I think they're such a great little hobby. Something really quick and easy sometimes, or a way to fill a few days if you have some time off or the holidays, anything like that. And for number 5, we have reading. Reading is obviously so popular, such a classic thing. A lot of people do it their whole lives. But again, with the internet and with libraries, there is so much information you have access to and so many possibilities within reading. Reading is such a great one because you don't have to spend any money. If you have a library anywhere near you, it's usually free to sign up, and then you can have access to thousands of different books that are always changing, and you can read so much without ever having to spend any money. I've only really gotten back into reading in the last couple of years. Now that I'm finished with school and university, I've started relearning my love for reading beyond homework and assignments. And there are just so many different genres to choose from. With the internet, social media, AI, so many things are fighting for our attention and trying to bring down our critical thinking skills and our understanding. And I think reading often is such a great way to kind of keep your mind sharp, to be able to have good conversations with people. If you haven't read in a while, there's also so many options. There's graphic novels, there's short stories, novellas, poetry. There's so many different ways that you can kind of get your foot into reading again. I just think it's all around such a great thing to be reading regularly. Number 6 on this list is journaling and scrapbooking. In particular, junk journaling has become really popular lately, and I've also seen recipe scrapbooks and different things like that, and I really enjoy this one because it's so physical and you can really be creative. You don't have to have anyone see it. It's just about the process of having fun and curating something really cute that you've spent your time on. There are no rules, there are no right or wrong ways to do this, so I think it's a really nice freeing way to just use your creative muscles, utilize some of your stationery that might be sitting around. Again, kind of as an extension of that one, for number 7, I've got collage or mood boarding. So obviously a physical collage can be quite similar to a scrapbook, and it's all about collecting things that you like, making something pretty, or just a good collection of items that you're drawn to. When I think of mood boarding, obviously I think of something like Pinterest. You can use this for vision planning. A lot of people make mood boards at the start of the year, or again, it can just simply be for fun, just to use up some magazine scraps, little bits of stationery. Something about cutting out pieces of paper and gluing them down. I don't know if it's the inner child in me, but something about that physical process is just really satisfying and entertaining for me. Number 8 on the list is jewelry making and beading. So I recently just worked at a jewelry company over the holidays, helping them out, and it really reignited my love for jeweling that I had as a kid. Me and my mum used to make necklaces, bracelets. Making jewelry is quite a broad category. Obviously you can do beading, you can do metal work, silversmithing. You can go really high end and really into the skilled side of it, which is so impressive to me, and I just think it's such an amazing art form. Or it's super easy. You can just get a few beads, get a few threads, make little anklets, friendship bracelets. It's just a fun little activity. This is one again where you do need to buy a few supplies to get into it, but there again are so many tutorials online, so much inspiration. You can use them to make gifts for friends or just some items for yourself. Again, I just really like the physical nature of grabbing your pieces, putting something together, and then being able to hold the product at the end and knowing that you made it with your own hands. For number 9, I have writing. This can involve poetry, journal entries, essays, songs, anything. Because of everything being so digital now, I think so many people have lost the act or the art of writing in their everyday life. And as a crafty person myself, I just love the feel of a nice pen on paper, seeing the words in front of you. And writing can be a really helpful processing tool. I find that writing my thoughts out is so much easier to actually deal with things, understand, think through different ideas rather than just keeping them in my head or even speaking with others. Something about the specific act of writing things down I think is really helpful for just thinking things through, being creative. It's a really great way to express yourself, whether that is received by others or just for yourself. On to number 10, I have got sewing. Sewing is such an amazing skill to develop. It can be so helpful for tailoring your clothes. Once you pick up the basics, you can do so much, and you can upcycle clothes from a thrift store. You can make items for yourself, for your friends. Sewing is another thing I really want to get into more this year. I have an old sewing machine that I would love to get out and try, but I've got lots of friends that have been sewing, and again, it is such an amazing skill to have. This is one that obviously requires quite an investment. Sewing machines can get quite expensive, and then you do need to upkeep with your threads and your patterns and your fabrics. But if you are looking for something to just dive into, learn a new skill that can be really helpful and be really creative, I think sewing is such a great option. And watch this space, because I'm hoping that I will learn some more sewing skills this year and be able to utilize them in my crafting as well. Next on the list, number 11, is paper crafts. So once again, this is something that really reminds me of my childhood and just getting a bit messy, getting stuck into it. When I say paper crafts, there's so many possibilities. You can make bookmarks, you can do cards. Making handmade cards is one of my favorite things to do, and the people who receive them often really love them and will cherish them even more because they know that you've made it. I've also got down calligraphy amongst paper crafts. I still do some calligraphy now, but I had a phase a few years ago that I was really obsessed with calligraphy. And I think paper crafts are another really great thing for the person who has a lot of stationery lying around, is generally artsy and crafty, and is just looking for another technique to use those supplies. But I just love the idea that the humble piece of paper can actually make such amazing crafts, and there's so many things that you can do with it. Number 12 on my list is baking. This is a great hobby, and it will give you lots of delicious treats, and I'm sure brownie points with the people around you. Some baking can be super easy. It can even be as simple as grabbing a box mix from the shop, adding the eggs and the oil or whatever is required, and just popping it in the oven. Even though you've just stirred some ingredients together and cooked it yourself, there's still something rewarding and satisfying about being part of that process. And then obviously the more you bake, you can also start to experiment with different things and try new flavors, and there's so many amazing recipes out there. Baking can also be quite inexpensive. A lot of the staples for most baked goods are quite cheap, and although you often do need mixes, there are so many ingredients where all you need is an oven and a bowl and a spoon, and you just throw things together and you get a really delicious product out of it. Something like baking is so rewarding because you put your time and effort into it, and then you can physically see exactly what you've made at the end. I just love a hobby where you have the creative process and the act of making it is fun in itself, and then you also get a product at the end, which in this case you can eat. And number 13 goes back to number 2 and is fiber arts. So I already mentioned crocheting and knitting, but there are also needlework, cross stitch, felting, weaving. So many different crafts come under this category of fiber arts and can be amazing ways to fill some spare time. Once again, you do need to grab the materials for this, but there are so many stores and even craft kits online that have everything you need just in the one. So if you want to try something out but don't want to invest into a massive setup yourself, you can get everything just in one kit ready to go. Which brings me on to the next one, number 14, which is craft kits. There are so many of these available. Every craft you've ever thought of or never heard of before, you can find a craft kit online, and these can make incredible gifts for other people as well, or little craft nights that you can do with your friends. I just love the idea of everything being all in one place. It's super easy to access, user friendly, and you get to try something new without too much of an investment. I get a lot of these as gifts and I love it because there's so many different things to try, and if you're generally just kind of creative into arts and crafts, these are such a great way to try things out and potentially find something that you love and you will keep doing. The next item on my list is Lego and mini builds. Lego is super popular and it can get quite expensive, especially for those bigger kits. But there's also different home brand styles or building kits themselves. I'll try and pop a picture here of something I've loved seeing recently, which are kind of these little dioramas that you pop out all the different items, glue it all together, and you get these lovely little bookshelf scenes. Similar to a puzzle, there is something so satisfying and rewarding about getting instructions, getting all your pieces and putting it all together and then seeing that result at the end that you have worked towards. There's also such a range with Lego. There are the really expensive items, but you can also just get the little flower kits or the minifigures. This is another thing I also often ask for as gifts because I don't want to spend too much money on it myself, but it is such a fun way to spend a free afternoon. Next up on the list is hiking, and even more generally just spending more time outside. Being outside isn't really a hobby in itself, but depending on where you live, there can be so many different hiking trails, picnic spots, so much on offer for free that you can access right outside your door. Going on hikes and walks can be so good for your mental health and just a really nice place to get out of your space that you've been in at home or at work, a great way to unwind, engage with the world around you, chat with a friend if you go with others. There's so much science and so many things to be said about being outside, getting vitamin D, getting fresh air. I personally love a picnic and especially going to a little park spot and bringing my other hobbies. I love taking a book, my crochet, a little kit and just spending that time outside. Along that same vein, I also put scavenging in here. So I've seen a lot of things online about people going for sensory walks or color walks where, for example, you head out with the color yellow in mind and you try and notice things on your walk that are yellow or that start with a certain letter. And then so why I've said scavenging is because you can collect things and you can make art with the things around you. So you can find flowers and press them. In autumn, a lot of people make different artworks with the leaves. You can start a collection of shells or rocks. Obviously, it's super important to be respectful to the environment and to everyone else that has access to these places as well. But for example, if you have flowers in your own garden or there's lots of shells at the beach or anything like that. This is kind of a random one, but I just remember collecting little things as a kid, and I think it's just a really great way to be more engaged when you are spending that time outside. So as kind of a bonus to your walks or your hikes, really engaging with the world around you, looking around and potentially collecting things that you can then incorporate into your other hobbies as well. Okay, we've got 3 left. So kind of on the other side of spending this time outside and in nature, there is gaming. And again, there is such a wide range of options with this, and the internet is an amazing resource for finding communities and different types of games, different consoles. There are endless options if you get into the world of games. Once again, this does require a bit of an investment, especially if you're getting a larger console. But again, there are a lot of free games out there or inexpensive options. I know on Steam, a lot of games are often rotating through and going on sale. Gaming can be a really nice way to switch off and kind of escape from the world around you. It can also be really great for connecting with other people. So you can hop on Discord, game with friends who are maybe far away and you can't spend time with otherwise. This is definitely an area I'm going to get more into in this year as well. But gaming is just really great for just incorporating more play into your life and just doing something for fun. Other than console and online gaming, you also can get into board and card games. I wouldn't necessarily normally think of these as a hobby because a lot of hobbies I kind of think of as something you do mostly on your own and in your spare time. But as someone who loves card and board games myself, I do think they kind of can fit into the category of a hobby. Obviously, most of these games do require other people, so this is one of those hobbies that I think is better with friends and with family, but there are also games that you can do on your own. Those kind of more just fall into that puzzle category or more in the online gaming space. There's lots of old school ones you can buy on eBay. Obviously there's heaps of new games always coming out as well. I just love spending an afternoon with friends playing a new game, getting to be a little bit competitive, engage with other people, use your mind as well. You can find the ones that you like, that you don't like. A lot of communities also have local board game days or clubs, or at libraries there might be a board game night. All right, and the final one on this list, number 20, is clay and pottery. So similar to a lot of the other ones I've mentioned, there is a really wide spectrum of what this can involve. Obviously, going to a pottery class, getting your own wheel, all of these things, you can get really up into the high end for something like pottery and make some really incredible things. Or you can go as simple as buying some cheap air-dried clay, rolling it into these small little cartoony characters, and that's it. It doesn't have to be a massive investment, and it just goes back to the idea with a lot of these hobbies of making things for yourself that are unique, that are handmade. And for me, that's what cozy hobbies are all about. It's just about spending time, relaxing, using your brain, being creative, and getting something at the end that is yours. Okay, so that is my list of 20 different cozy hobby ideas that you can try. Hopefully this video hasn't ended up too long, but if you are still here, thank you so much for watching. And I know these videos can just be a good resource to come back to when you're looking for something to do. I really hope you have taken some inspiration from some of the items on this list and that you feel excited to try out a new hobby going into this year. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more crochet and cozy hobby content. And I will see you in 2 weeks with another video.